intensity is intimacy's counterfeit cousin. It's the thing that we're all searching for. It's the thing that God created us for. It's not good for man to be alone. Intimacy is true connection. A one-night stand is taking all of that intimacy and trying to put it into a couple of hours. And so in the moment, you think you're experiencing the intimacy that your soul is desperate for, but it's not. It's a counterfeit version of it called intensity that leaves you feeling duped and depleted and needing another one the next night. Pornography is the same exact way. It's a counterfeit version. It's intensity that's masking itself as intimacy. And anybody in the middle of watching pornography, nobody is like, yeah, no, I think this is what my soul was created for, right? But
no one said no one ever. Said no one.
This is time
ever.
well spent.
Exactly right.
What's up, everybody? I hope that you are all doing well. I just had the greatest conversation.
We just talked for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That felt like 20 minutes.
Well, listen, every time that we sit down on this couch and God brings a guest like this, we get a revelation that we never got.
It was fun. We went to some places.
We did.
That was just good, man. Yeah. I had a blast. Thank you for having me on.
It's going to be amazing. I need you all to download the B-Side app. Wherever you're listening from, wherever you're watching from, press B. Peace.
Please don't push me.
Please don't push me, but y'all push B. Now we got dwellers from Cali to Flatbush B. Now they got heat on their feet that say press B. And now we so deep in the street, y'all can't stress me. Can't curse me, then bless me. I'm crucifying my flesh, that's less me. SAT'd from preaching, can't test me. Atheists are now believing, that bless me. Yeah, we got the basement replacing any of those worldly pursuits that y'all chasing, any of those trials and tests that y'all facing, any of the relationships that y'all changing. We rearranging, making the shame shift, giving Satan back what's his, that's the blame shift. Rise up and walk commands, that's the lame shift. Cheat codes for living this life, that's the game shift. All on Yeshua, man, the rest is manure, man. I'm dying daily, so I rise up a purer man. Pressing B daily, so my sins looking fewer, man. Washing the blood, so my sins down the sewer, man. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be.
Welcome to the basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tim Ross. I hope you're all doing well. I love you guys so much. Shout out to all my dwellers. Shout out to all of my B-siders. Thank you so much for making this community what it is. Thank you for making this app what it is. This entire platform would not exist if it were not for you. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your love. Thank you for all of your encouragement, your prayers, all the things. I love you guys. Yada, yada, boo, boo. I'm so hyped today for my guest. He wrote a book. We're going to get into it. This is my first time that I had never met him before. My first time meeting him was today. So it's giving Google form vibes. It's giving the Google form vibes. We had all these people that we wind up sitting on the couch with. They just filled out a Google form and we were like, hey, we just going to trust you to come to the house and sit down with us and chat and talk. But a dear friend of mine actually recommended that I sit down with this gentleman and told me about a book that he wrote. And I was like, I'm down to talk with him. Let's get it cracking. And he is on the couch today. And so who knows what we're going to get into? I'm so excited. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am presenting for the first time to some and introducing to others. Ryan Wickerman is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go!
Tim, you don't even know, man. I've been looking forward to this conversation all week.
Have you really?
I am a dweller.
Are you really?
And so this may have Google form vibes for you, but it doesn't for me.
That's awesome.
Bro, I love this space
Thank
that
you,
you
man.
are creating.
Thank you. I
Everything
appreciate
about
it.
the basement, everything about B-Side. It's just beautiful, and it's
Thank you,
needed,
man.
and it's timely, and it's dangerous in the best way.
Thanks, bro.
And so I am honored to be here today.
That's awesome, man. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Yeah. So it's interesting when you sit down with somebody for the first time, you don't know the context that they have to you or you have to them. And so that's really endearing. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Tell me about you. Like, where are you from? Where were you born? Where were you raised?
Yeah.
All that stuff.
I grew up moving around a ton.
Okay.
Yep. So my dad works for General Motors, and
Yep.
it took us all over the place, which was fun because I had to learn how to be the new kid often.
Yeah.
Every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And so that took us all through Ohio, Indiana, Midwest to California for a long time, Denver for a long period of time. Went to high school out there, went to college out there, and then was a pastor in Southern California for 5 years.
You were?
I was, yeah.
Whoa.
At a great church in Orange County, north side
Awesome.
of Orange County.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm so grateful that you are enjoying this free content on YouTube.
If you want to be the first to access content like this and not have to wait a week or who knows how long before you can see this content, then you should subscribe to B-Side, where you will get the content immediately as soon as it drops and you won't have to wait at all.
The B-Side app is waiting for you to come home. Peace. Slow down for me then.
We're going fast.
Yeah,
We got
slow.
a lot to get into, though.
Bro, but this is like, this is long format.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This is so refreshing to me because so often interviews are like, okay, like I'll do a lot of radio for the book.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so we have this 2-minute segment. And so make sure you get your point across.
Yeah, bro.
And so I am like currently adjusting
Yeah.
right now to this long form.
Well, I promise you, the only reason why we would have to stop talking is if one of us has to pee.
I love it.
Might
happen.
It might happen. Our longest pod is 4 hours and 6 minutes.
4 hours and 6
It's the record.
minutes. Who was that with?
My friend Victory Boyd.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It is, I feel, the future of so many of these topics that we try to wrestle with
Yep.
require more than a soundbite.
Yeah, they do.
They require more than a good thumbnail.
That's right.
They're complicated.
They are.
And what you are creating is space
Yeah.
to embrace the complexity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I see everything in pictures. So as you're telling me about the moving around with General Motors, with your dad, your family, and then you get this good stint in Denver.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
But what piqued my interest was you wind up a lead pastor.
Teaching pastor.
Teaching pastor. You
yeah.
wind up a teaching pastor for 5 years in Cali. And I just want to know, like, from college there.
Back up. So that job in California, that I was like beginning, like I was like a coordinator, director.
Yeah.
So that wasn't me coming in as like a teaching pastor.
Yeah,
or
for
anything.
sure. For sure. I get it.
But yes, that was like introduction into like one step above intern,
Yeah.
which I also was before that.
Yep.
You know how it goes
I do.
in ministry.
I do.
But that time in California was so near and dear to
Wow.
my heart. It was an amazing learning experience for me. I just owe so much of what I get to do now to my time then.
Mm-hmm.
God was preparing me in lots of ways, which is, I think, so important as I meet with people in their 20s all the time. And there's this anxiety usually baked into the life stage that they are in, trying to figure out, but what's next? What's next? What's next? And then you read scripture and it's like, well, Jesus waited until 30, like where was Moses from 40 to 80? Abraham.
Very true.
We could do this all day. David was in the caves running for his life when he was a young adult.
That's right.
Like, it is a time, if this is you and you're watching this right now, it is a time to put tools in your tool belt. It is a time to learn. It's a time to grow. It's a time to ask questions.
Yeah,
it's a
for
time
sure.
to make some mistakes and learn from those
Yeah,
mistakes.
Absolutely.
It's pruning,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so California very much was that for
Yeah.
me. And I'm really grateful for it. A lot of the book begins in my time there.
Yep.
And then carries all the way to Austin, Texas, where I'm at now. But yeah, man, those were really just beautiful years. I met some of my best friends,
Yeah.
who are still my best friends to this day. One of them's in the room right now with us today. So
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Brian. Yeah. Love you, man. All right, so you did this 5 years in Cali, and then how do you get to Austin?
Yep. So my brother is 2 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I have been best friends our entire lives.
Yeah, sweet.
He starts working at a church called Red Rocks in Denver, and every time I go to visit him, I'm at Red Rocks with him. I'm hanging out. The leaders there kind of become mentors from afar for me, and we just fall in love with all things of Red Rocks. And so my brother and myself, and our other best friend Ethan, there's three of us. We've always had this dream to plant a church. Back in 2012, the three of us traveled the world for a year and did a bunch of mission work everywhere. And that whole time, we just wanted to come back and plant a church.
Wow.
We get back, and it just felt like God was like, you guys don't know the first thing about how to do this.
Right.
And so that's where we go into this. We all get jobs at different churches. We start learning like what's a budget,
Right.
you know, like
It's pretty important. Yeah. What is the budget?
how do you handle all these situations that come up?
Yeah.
And around 2016, the three of us are a part of a group that we were a small group in college, and now every year we still get together for about 3 or 4 days. Everybody lives in their own part of the country. We try to get together for 4 days just to check in. It's like this covenant group that's
nice.
like
That's beautiful.
15 years in, right?
Yeah, that's dope.
Which is
That's
amazing.
dope. That's actually dope.
It's a gift.
It is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And was pivotal for our faith in the beginning. So in 2016, we're at that weekend getaway, and it's just we just hang out. We have some fun, and then when it's your turn, you check in for an hour or two, and you just put it all out on the table. You talk about everything that's going on, pray for each other, all of that. So our friend Chris looks at the three of us in 2016 and says, hey, you guys have always talked about planting a church. When's that going to happen? And planted that seed. And we are driving. This was in the Rocky Mountains. We're driving back to my brother Doug's house. And it's the three of us, and we're debriefing the weekend. And we go, I think Chris is right. I think it might be time for us to plant a church. Now, Doug had been at Red Rocks for multiple years, and we had just fallen in love with everything about the culture, everything about Red Rocks. It's very, it's just an amazing church. And we realized, hey, when we go plant our church, like 99.8% of it is just going to be Red Rocks.
Right.
We're just going to try to go remake Red Rocks.
Right.
So Sean Johnson, who's the global senior pastor of Red Rocks, we have this idea. We go, Doug, what if you just called Sean and you just told him that? And you said, hey, because he knew the three of us. You know, like, hey, I think it might be time. And I think we're ready to plant a church, and when that happens, we're really just gonna go remake Red Rocks. What do you think? We didn't know, like it was a Hail Mary.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure,
like,
absolutely. He could say no.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Yeah.
So we're getting fired up, and we decide, hey, Doug, when we get home, you're gonna make that phone call. And so we've got our with everything, you know, worship music going, and you know, you've done that
Cue
exact thing.
Cue it up. We're gonna set the atmosphere. We're gonna get the right answer from God because we got the right worship. Because we got the right worship music on. He loves Hillsong.
It's all about the right song.
It's so good.
Oh,
it's so true.
It's so true. As we're having that conversation, Doug's phone rings. Text message. Do phones ring anymore? Doug's phone gets a notification.
Yeah.
It's a text message from Sean. Hey, you guys ever wanted to plant a church?
Get out of here, fam.
Bro, wildest day of my life. Doug calls him. He spends 30 minutes pitching to us what we were going to pitch to him. What if you guys go anywhere? He said, you go anywhere you want and go. It's time for us to multiply. You guys are the right guys to do it. Trust you. Wherever you want to go plant a Red Rocks church. So we told him no. No, I'm just playing.
You're like, we need to pray about it.
Dude,
Cue prayer song.
it was, with everything on repeat. It was so cool.
Wow.
And so Austin, Texas, we had never been there before. And San Diego was first on our list. Love the ocean, all of that. We go to San Diego for a weekend, spend the whole time talking about Austin.
Wow.
There's practical reasons. It was on best places to move list, and it was growing quickly and all of that. Also, side note, we were in San Diego and the Chargers were moving to Los Angeles. They were the San Diego Chargers. We were driving past the empty stadium.
Wow.
Like, should we move into the place that the NFL is moving out of?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And we get to Austin for a weekend and just feel right at home. Just felt like these are our people.
Yep.
So it's a whole lot of people asking a lot of questions. A lot of them maybe grew up in Bible Belt and are running to Austin to try to get away from that.
Yep. True.
And a lot of very spiritual people who love the spiritual stuff, but maybe don't have a whole lot of grounding for that. And people that I've always just felt really comfortable with, like leading and discipling. And hey, let's put some language to these things that you're feeling and all that. And so, long story short, we pick Austin, and in 2018 we moved to Austin, Texas. And January 6, 2019, we started Red Rocks Austin.
Wow.
And my brother leads it, and Ethan is like the executive pastor, and then I'm the teaching pastor of it.
Wow.
And we've just been rolling with it.
Dude, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
It is so cool. I love when God makes it obvious that the thoughts that you're having are his and not yours.
And can I say that doesn't happen to me all the time?
Yeah, me either.
Like that phone call.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're watching this, like, that never happens to me. It never happens to me either.
Exactly.
Like, I got one.
You got one story. No, dude, I got it.
But yeah,
That's
when
so
you
beautiful.
have something that's been on your heart and then it starts to become a reality.
Yeah.
That's why I love creativity. That's why I love art. That's why it is like it's just beautiful, man. And it's fun. And I get to help be a part of a church with my best friends, and we're having a blast. So yeah, man.
Did you feel brave writing this book? Because I need you to know you are brave for writing this book.
Yeah, especially chapter 3, especially talking about pornography, talking about sex, talking about realizing for me, this might help somebody, that intensity is intimacy's counterfeit cousin. So intimacy is the thing that we're all searching for. It's the thing that God created us for. It's not good for man to be alone. Intimacy is true connection. Intensity is the way that we try to get that thing in it. So think about a one-night stand. God designed it so that you meet somebody, you fall in love, you ask them out, you go through all this, you learn their insecurities, they learn yours, you become vulnerable together. You commit to each other geographically and then emotionally and physically, and you propose and you have a wedding, and then ultimately sex is a beautiful crescendo of all of that. A one-night stand is taking all of that intimacy and trying to put it into a couple of hours. And so in the moment, you think you're experiencing the intimacy that your soul is desperate for, but it's not. It's a counterfeit version of it called intensity that leaves you feeling duped and depleted and needing another one the next night. Pornography is the same exact way. It's a counterfeit version. It's intensity that's masking itself as intimacy. And anybody in the middle of watching pornography, nobody is like, yeah, no, I think this is what my soul was created for, right? But
no one said no one ever. Said no one.
This is time well spent.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But that intensity makes you feel like you're getting that intimacy that you're so desperate for. And so for me, and this might help somebody, just learning to call it and go, oh, that intensity that I'm drawn to right now, that is not actually the intimacy that my soul is created for. Just naming it goes a long way in turning the light on.
That's absolutely
and helping
correct.
you take a step back and go, oh, I don't want that.
That's absolutely correct.
I don't need that.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Learning that has been a absolute game changer for me. Intensity is intimacy's counterfeit cousin. Yeah. So my journey as a single person is learning to find that intimacy and that true connection in other ways, through having like really life-giving conversations
Yeah.
like this, and having lots of people in my life who care deeply about me. Showing up to my friend's house when they're having a birthday party for their kid.
That's right.
And being in their life,
That's
being
right.
in his life.
That's right.
And not showing up like a burden, like, well, when's my time going to come? But instead showing up like a blessing and going, look at, I am freed up right now. I don't have to chase my kids around, so I should probably chase their kids around so that they can have a little break. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
I don't have another mouth that I have to feed. When I get paid same day as Doug and Ethan, every other Friday. When they get paid, they're thinking wife, kids, dog.
Yeah.
I don't think about any of that.
You're like, ballin'!
And I could.
I'm going to Bali. What y'all doing? What? Yeah, I'm just leaving for 4 days. I'll be back. You can't come, can't you?
Right?
That's wild.
I could use that money to cope with the disadvantages of being single. Or I could flip the script and realize that I may not have other mouths to feed, but there are tons of kids going to bed hungry tonight.
And you could be a blessing.
And I can be a blessing. It takes work, and I'm not saying I get it perfect. But making that mind shift of going, yeah, but how can I use this gift of singleness that I have to bless the world and to move the ball forward? Because here's what I'm really tired of is I'll meet with single people all the time who will go, people, online, there's all these videos about how single people are just staying single because they want to be selfish with their time and they just want to do, their own thing, and they want to put off, stepping into what God created us to do. And what I say to them is, hey, do you know why people are saying those things? It's because by and large, that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. They don't see a different expression of singlehood.
And so if we want to change what they're saying, we have to change the way that we are spending our time and resources and energy as single people. I see a day where singleness is actually synonymous with selflessness instead of selfishness. And I see a day where single people are like the best, biggest blessing to the church body that they are a part of, because they're using their extra time not to go out and create problems for the church, but to help bless the church, right? Like I just see a time, man, singleness is on the rise.
Yeah.
You look at all the numbers. I was reading one a while back, 46.4% of U.S. adults are currently single. In 1970, that number was 28%. So in the last 50 years, we've gone from 28% to 46.4. Wow. That's millions more people.
Millions more. Wow.
There's a rise of singleness. And there's a lot of beauty to that. There's also a lot of danger to that.
For sure.
And we could get into all of that. But to me, I go, what if that rise of singleness was synonymous with also a rise of love and selfless giving and showing up and being a part of lives and communities where you can have a married couple with no kids and a married couple with kids and a single person who wants to be married and a single person who doesn't want to be married, breaking bread together and hanging out and getting to know each other and learning from one another, right?
Dude, so I'll never see the marriage at Cana the same way again because of my conversation with you right now. A 30-year-old single Jewish man rocks up to a party and says, I think my first miracle is supposed to be done here.
Walks up to the party, by the way. He had a lot to do saving the world. Goes out of his way and walks to this really extravagant wedding. Shows up as a single. Anybody who's ever shown up single to a wedding, I talk about it a lot in the book. Weddings are probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
That and Christmas and Valentine's Day.
Absolutely.
And your birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
But weddings.
Yeah.
So keep going.
And this dude is just kind enough, but free enough to perform his first miracle there. And so I'm thinking about what you just said through that lens, that as a single man, you get to arrive in spaces and places and be sensitive to the Holy Spirit to know, I think I'm supposed to perform a miracle here for somebody. I think he wants to use me. My money's not tied up with wife and kids and this and that. And, God might want to perform a miracle here, and he might want to use me.
So good.
Dude, it's such a beautiful thing.
Thanks, man. That wedding picture is such a prominent piece of it, because I've been to weddings. I've officiated weddings where I got insecure. Like officiated the wedding, and then the what's the dance called where it's like if you've been married 5 years, you've been married 10 years, the anniversary dance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And like everybody gets up and goes, and I'm sitting there.
Yep.
You know, and I was the one in charge just a couple minutes ago.
Right.
Now I'm the one person sitting alone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Weddings are where the tomorrow trap is at its strongest. And that is why it's so easy as a single person to make a wedding that you show up to about you, to bring a dark cloud with you. To your point, Tim, Jesus brought the wine. He brought
the cloud.
He brought 908 bottles of wine when you do the math, when you work it out.
So true.
So I will sit in my car before a wedding and preach to myself, I'm not going to bring a dark cloud. I'm going to bring the wine. And that's a metaphor for I'm going to bring the celebration, right? Wow. I'm going to make this about them. Because, and here's the honest truth, like single people, like it's hard. When you are married and you go to a wedding, you are celebrating that your friend or loved one is signing up to enter into the same life stage that you are in.
Yeah.
And so you're celebrating, and you know you're about to have more in common with them. When you're single, you're showing up to celebrate that they're entering into a life stage that you are not in, and you're about to have less in common with them. So it can be very, very difficult.
Bro, there's no one that's ever articulated any of this.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I wish somebody had 10 years ago. It would have made my journey a lot easier.
You wrote the book you needed 10 years ago.
This was it, man.
Wow, dude.
This was it.
This is such a gift.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and again, to like the single person listening, it's one thing to say this stuff, you know, but it takes time and it takes practice, and we're going to get it off, and we're going to get it wrong, and
to live it out, to execute on it.
It takes work. But Jesus was very, very good at it.
Very good.
He never made anything about him.
No. Paul didn't either.
The writer of Hebrews says in Hebrews 12:1, I'm going to paraphrase, run the race marked out for you. Throw off everything, the sin that so easily entangles, all the stuff that weighs you down. Run the race marked out for you. And I just get the sense that sometimes we think that marriage is that finish line that we are running the race towards. Like we're running as fast as we can, and marriage is at the end of it. So if I can just get married, right? And I just think we need a bigger, more beautiful picture of one, the gospel, and two, of marriage, where you go, no, actually making disciples is this finish line. That's the race that you are running. And that is a much more compelling, bigger race.
Absolutely.
That will sustain you through the good days and the bad days.
Absolutely.
Because there's going to be both.
Yeah.
And you may just realize as you're running that race that there's someone to your right or to your left who is also running that race. And you may realize that the two of you can run it faster together, and you may end up getting married, and that is beautiful, and we celebrate that for you. Or that may not happen.
That's right.
But either way, when you understand what the actual finish line is, life becomes possible to be single today.
That's right.
To live a full, abundant life today. That's what Jesus was doing. That's what Paul was doing.
Yeah.
They just understood that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
If I'm synthesizing all that you've downloaded to me today, which really, I mean, you've given me a contextualization that I'm just like giddy about, like for real. Yeah. What you're saying to people is, singleness is only selfish when you make it about you.